Good afternoon. My name is Christopher Nickloff. I'm headmaster at TASIS, and it's my honor to welcome you to the 2018 Founders Assembly. It's a great honor to be here with all of you today. It is very, very important for an institution to remember why it's here, where it came from, and that's what today is all about. We're here to celebrate the birthday of our founder, Mary Crist Fleming. September 10th, 1910, a different time of values that are still alive and with us today, and all represented by you. There are a lot of people in the room who have direct connection to Mrs. Fleming, and you'll hear from them and their thoughts. The other great thing that we have at TASIS is we have a rich array of pictures and video and words to bring alive the vision of Mrs. Fleming. I'd like to point out just two things when I talk to friends and family about TASIS. First, TASIS is the first American boarding school in Europe. Second, I'd like to point out that TASIS was founded in 1956 by Mrs. Fleming, and in a country where women earned the right to vote in 1970. So she clearly was a pioneer as not a citizen of Switzerland, and here founding a school that we are also blessed to be a part of at a time when women had not yet had the right to vote in the country itself. So pioneer and perseverance are one of her hallmarks, and hopefully alive today in all the work that you do. I would like to close by pointing out a title of a song that you are going to hear. It's in the program, and it's called Reach. And I believe that summarizes what Mrs. Fleming wanted all of you and all of us to do, to reach our highest potential, particularly in the areas of truth, goodness, and beauty as inscribed on the Mary Crist Fleming Library. So without further ado, I welcome you to the 2018 Founders Day Assembly, and I am so grateful that we are all here today, and so please enjoy the assembly. Thank you.
There is a garage. One man in that garage is thinking about Japanese calligraphy, about a way to make beauty accessible and functional, and maybe even universal. The other man loves to tinker, loves technology. He wants to find a way to print out labels from databases better. What both men want doesn't exist, yet.
In 1965, a blue-eyed Norwegian student with little English and big dreams showed up on a small all-American campus. With the help of the community and the teachers he found there, the student learned to speak English. His confidence grew, as did his fascination with American culture. He thought about America, and he thought about the world around him.
A 12-year-old girl in her bedroom. It is nighttime and she is dressed for bed. There is an old-fashioned globe sitting on a dressing table. She starts to spin it around and around, imagining what life might be like across the ocean. Her dream to travel was not possible, yet. However, just 2 years later, her dream finally came true. In 1924, she arrived in Geneva, Switzerland.
The men have no money, but they do have an order for a box that makes phone calls at no cost. They need to pay for parts for 50 of these boxes. There is a company, actually, that orders 50 of them. The men make a bet, a risky bet. They will pay all the makers of these parts with the money they get from selling the boxes. They either pull this thing off, or they lose their shirts.
He finished school, moved to America, and then returned to Norway, where he continued to build his family's business. On leaving Norway, he made a generous donation to eye surgeons working in remote regions of Nepal. With his wife, he moved back to the town where he had gone to school. It was now his new, true home. His mother turned 100 years old and met another generous, innovative lady, the founder of the school he had gone to. The boy, now a man, visited his old school almost every day. He set himself the goal of making the school better, somehow, some way.
In 1955, 10 young American schoolgirls get in a car and drive across Europe. extraordinary daring journey, infamously known as Fording Europe, they found adventure, love, fun, and border police. They returned unscathed, and for one particular young lady, the adventure and the vision was ignited. With one small step, she left security and made a decision. In 1956, the Villa Verbenella in Bocarno was transformed.
It works, but the dream these men have isn't yet a reality. Not even close. They make another box that comes with a TV screen, and it's a box that more people want. These people are willing to pay for the box, and this demand inspires the next step. The third box they make is a disaster. It can't cool itself off, and customers are angry. It doesn't matter. One of the men charms the public. He makes a better fourth box, and he takes the company public, generating more capital than any initial public offering since Ford in 1956.
The man's mother was aging. She wondered what to do with the family's assets. She wanted to give them to the benefit of others, especially children. Her son thought about donating the assets to a large organization, but worried about the end result. Starting his own organization might be too much. Then he thought, what about the school?
Starting with 12 students and 6 teachers, an institution was established and began to rapidly develop. By 1958, with 50 students, the existing Verbenella was too small. In the 1950s, Switzerland was a very strict and somewhat difficult place to live. Women could not vote, women could not get bank loans, the concept of a businesswoman simply did not exist. In spite of threats of bankruptcy and being outvoted by her own board, this particular lady, with charm, charisma, and unfailing conviction, managed to win her first loan and start building.
You might have known from the very first words you heard. The box was the Apple computer. This computer led not just to the phones nestled right now in your pockets, but to a prevailing culture that is the consequence of a founding moment and a founding duo who once had no money, a few circuit boards, and an idea.
That foreign student you heard about had found his dream. The boy, as you might know, is Jan Opsal. Inspired by Howard Stickley's annual trips to Botswana and Zambia, he and Mr. Mullard created the Global Service Learning Program at TASIS. Now students travel to 8 countries to help children who have so little gain a footing in the difficult world. In Mr. Opsal's words, a feeling of uselessness is mankind's worst enemy.
You may have guessed from the beginning of this story that the place the young girl wanted to go was a Golden Hill. This institution became the American school, and the girl was Mrs. Fleming. Her vision led not only to the seat you are sitting on this very moment, within one of the many magnificent buildings on this campus, but most importantly, the vision has been completed by you, all of which is a consequence of a founding moment by an incomparable solo act, which had a passion for education and a dream of creating citizens of the world.
Live on in time forever. Good afternoon, TASIS community. My name is Giovanni Barbieri, and I am a half French, half Italian middle schooler. Today, we celebrate the birthday of our founder, Mrs. Fleming. Mrs. Fleming had many wonderful qualities that helped build our community. Two of these qualities, courage and determination, enabled her to found this beautiful and unique school, a learning center for students from around the world. She inspired me by teaching me to embrace these qualities. I will tell a story about my personal experience with courage and determination. A year ago, I joined an Emma's musical and was offered a supporting role. After a few weeks, the performer who had obtained the main role had to leave for personal reasons. That same day, the director of the musical came to me and said that he wanted to talk to me. And he asked me to take one of the main roles. Yes, me. This was huge for me. At first, I was reluctant, as I knew it would take courage to step in and perform in front of others. So I started preparing, running my lines and getting comfortable with my role. Balancing this with my studies took determination, but I kept my goal in mind and succeeded, because I had learned through Mrs. Fleming and at TASIS that sometimes the best things take courage and determination. Mrs. Fleming also had courage and determination when she faced overwhelming odds when she opened her school. We should remember this when we are facing something difficult or challenging. Mrs. Fleming was a foreign woman from the 1950s. She needed buildings, people, and students to achieve her dream. She had a dream to build an international school where students could be exposed to new environments and opportunities. She has taught us to stretch ourselves and thrive as human beings. If you think about it, we use courage and determination often in our daily lives. Students new to TASIS show courage in meeting new friends and settling into a new life here. Maybe you want to try out for the sports team or the school play. That takes courage. Students who maybe didn't do so well academically last year need determination to do better this year. Many of us talk with our advisory groups about our goals for the year. Reaching these takes determination too. We should not be afraid to take a leap of faith and to not abandon our dream, even if some people are against it. Mrs. Fleming empowered us by saying to students and parents in a speech in 1981, "I hope you go forward with your noble ideas, with crazy, wonderful dreams, and with the sure sense that no matter how impossible they seem, you will make them come true." In the end, I believe, as a student, that there is nothing that can stop you, and it will never be too early or too late to found a school, organization, or company. Try something new. Be courageous, be determined. Our possibilities are limitless. Now I present to you Veronica Ramos.
Yeah, I'm pretty short compared to Giovanni. So hello, my name is Maria Veronica Ramos. I'm fully Venezuelan, and this is my third year at TASIS. During my 3 years at TASIS, I've seen that school offers countless opportunities for students to stretch themselves. It's up to us to take advantage of these opportunities with determination and commitment. I've been lucky to take advantage of academic, extracurricular, and leadership opportunities, and my commitment to these is a means to express my gratitude to this amazing community of students and teachers. Sophomore year, I was a member of the varsity cross-country team. As I had no running experience, which proved to be a challenging endeavor, the dedication to push myself to my limits taught me how much I could really handle. Despite not being the best runner, joining the team taught me about challenging both my physical and mental limits to achieve my goals. Skip to the spring of the same year, I was on the varsity badminton team and in the musical MCF, What a Wonderful Life. Balancing these commitments sparked my interest in leadership roles for different groups in our community. This led me to becoming a proctor, and my commitment and dedication to that role resulted in me becoming the first head proctor, junior head proctor, For all of us who take on leadership roles at TASIS, Ms. Fleming is never far from our minds. Her dedication and commitment to her community and our education is why we are here today. Her yearbook message in 1987 read, "Even though the magnitude of our problems seem overwhelming, through personal dedication, each one of us can make a critical difference." She believed in what each one of us could do for ourselves, our friends, our community, and our world. Goals that may appear as difficult as climbing Mount Everest are surmountable, with dedication and commitment. We can do whatever we set our minds to do, and we're lucky to have Ms. Fleming's example to follow in our daily lives. Through pushing through boundaries and despite many external factors, she sought to achieve her goals. Goals that may appear as Mount Everest require time and commitment to surpass them. We can all break barriers as Ms. Fleming has, even as I have done these past years, to achieve our goals, to make a difference. With commitment and dedication, Ms. Fleming was able to found a school. Well, many schools. What about you? Thank you. I now present Michael Azuric.
Good afternoon, TASIS. My name is Michael Mazurek, and I graduated from this school in 2016. Today, I would like to tell you a story that has profoundly impacted me. It's a story about leadership. In the words of Ms. Fleming, leadership is what education is all about. That is the mission of education. So my story starts in 10th grade. I began my journey in leadership and discovered what I was truly passionate about. Many of us understand the tangible reality of global warming. It's serious, it's urgent, it's growing. This was one of my main concerns when I was in 10th grade. To help solve this problem, or at least do what I can do, I decided to focus on a principal cause, which was the overproduction of food. Although I was only a student at the time, I decided to join the food committee at TASIS and help create a solution that would create a better impact on the environment. I put on a scientific robe and analyzed the food system. I learned that what was important in serving food and what variables were important for the environment. I learned about how to minimize the impact on it and maximize the productivity in the dining room. During my stay at TASIS, the Eco Friday, the project I led, has helped save millions of liters of water. Thanks to this project, I also discovered a lot of things about myself. Like all journeys, they all start with one single step. And this was my first step. It enabled me to represent TASIS at the World Expo, one of the biggest expos in the world, in 2015, and give a presentation that helped me understand more who I was. By virtue of this experience, I decided to focus on what I was truly passionate about. And now, this passion has grown, and I'm currently pursuing a career as a technology consultant in artificial intelligence in Ernst & Young, one of the biggest consulting company, at age 19. As I quoted in the beginning of my speech, Ms. Fleming believed that leadership is what education is all about. That is the mission of education. I completely agree with this statement, and here's my message to you. Throughout my many years at TASIS, we all learn about math, English, physics, economics, and many more subjects. When I graduated, however, I realized that a huge part of my learning experience was about learning from the actions from my friends and from my advisors, and how we can all develop as leaders. Imagine what kind of advice you would give yourself in 3 years when you graduate. Can you imagine leading a cause as I did? Discovering something that is really important to you? Imagine how much you can create, how much you can share with your community. Imagine how many people you can bring together. Imagine because you can. I believe everybody discovers their passion at TASIS, and it gives you the opportunity to do so, so take advantage of it. TASIS supports and inspires young talent in artistic endeavors, academic excellence, and independent growth. Striving to be the best you can be was one of Ms. Fleming's goals, and all of us can become leaders in their own way. So for this, I would like to thank you, Ms. Fleming, Mrs. Fleming, and happy Founders Day to everybody. And now for our next guest, please bring a loud round of applause for Aida Lajadice.
Dear students, faculty, Dr. and Mrs. Eshelman, dorm parents that became friends, friends that became family, and Lexi. My name is Aida Lajadice, and I'm a part-time Venezuelan, part-time Italian, full-time citizen of the world. Not too long ago, I was also fortunate enough to sit on those bleachers myself for 3 years, before graduating from TASIS in 2017 and pursuing my university studies at Bocconi University in Milan. When I started writing this speech, I sat for days, looking at a blank pages document that I'm pretty sure awkwardly smiled back at as if saying, "So, nice weather, huh? Are you gonna write something now or what?" I sat there because I couldn't make a decision on how to start the speech. And then it hit me. Maybe I wouldn't have to. Bear with me. I could start the speech by giving you the Google definition of creativity. The use of imagination or original ideas to create something. And although I'm sure some of you language geeks would find this rewarding, I simply found it too mainstream. So instead, I could also start the speech by reminding you that being creative does not necessarily imply being a Picasso or a Spielberg or a Leibovitz. I'm sure there's many of you who think to yourself, "Wow, I am not creative at all," after drawing a stick figure on the side of your notebook. But trust me, being creative does not necessarily imply you have to be good at painting, filming, taking photos, or anything of the sort. Being creative can also imply finding solutions to problems that you didn't even know existed. I could have also started the speech by telling you a story of how creativity has continued to serve me, even as I study economics and management at university, a subject which, at first glance, would make you think requires little to no imagination. But the day I sat for my microeconomics exam, there was a question along the lines of, "Susan has a rich uncle who plans on sending her 40 euros of weekly allowance so that she can stop working. Assuming her preferences over leisure and consumption correspond to the following utility function, and the price for C is 1 euro while the price for N is 5, compute her budget line and decide whether she was better off before or after the weekly allowance." At that moment, I had negative ideas on how to answer this question. I was overwhelmed by my lack of knowledge, so I changed tack. I got creative. I wrote, "Susan is better off than all of us because at least she has a rich uncle." It got me partial points. And even though I didn't know how to start the speech, I had a pretty good idea of how I wanted to end it. Mrs. Fleming, our founder, had the power to imagine what she wanted to create because in her words, this is what education is all about. Stretching the muscles of your mind instead of the muscles of your legs. And in the process, stretching the strengths of your soul. I believe that power lives in all of us today, whether we see it or not. Now, I don't mean that all of you have to go out there and found a school or a business or something grand. I mean that you have the power to stretch your minds beyond the box. You have the power to create something that, even when little, will have an impact on someone else's life. So, we may not all be Susan type of lucky and have rich uncles who pay for us to stop working, but we are lucky in our own way because we possess the ability to imagine and to create. Just don't forget to use it. Thank you. With courage, determination, commitment, dedication, leadership, creativity, and imagination, one can turn the impossible into the possible. In this short video, you will hear Mrs. Fleming's voice. She had a dream, and it came true.
Ticino in southern Switzerland, across an ocean to 1956, when Crist Fleming created her first student, Ella Barrett.
And announced in August that the American School in Switzerland would open there on September 10th. Many parents said, impossible. You can't open a school in a month. But I did with 3 of my own, 3 day students and 6 other students who begged to stay. Their parents were foolish enough to let them. Those first year students still claim it was a very special year in their lives. After that first year of 12 students, we jumped to 35 and had to annex a nearby house. By the 3rd year, 50 students were enrolled. Where to go, where to put them?
student speakers, great job. There are two people I would like to recognize, Miss M.J. Breton and Miss St. Samantha Forrest, who put all of this together with loving care. Let's hear it for them. one phrase from Veronica's speech, and that you can make a difference, however big and however small. Mrs. Fleming believed in each and every one of her students. We believe in each and every one of you, and we want you to believe in yourself. We do have a tradition at the end of, now I have just noticed they have been standing and sitting down. I would be remiss. We have a direct connection with Mrs. Fleming. It's my honor to introduce the daughter of Mrs. Fleming, the chairman of our Board of Trustees, Miss Lynn Fleming Ashton. Husband from the TASIS Foundation Board, Dr. Michael Eschelman. It is often said that Mrs. Fleming is the founder and Mrs. Eschelman is the builder, building on her legacy, helping to build this beautiful campus that we all enjoy. We do like to close our Founders Day Assembly with a special tradition, and that is the opportunity to throw petals into our fountain up here, yellow rose petals. The yellow rose was Mrs. Fleming's favorite flower, and also the opportunity to enjoy some cake. Also, I understand that she and Mrs. Fleming enjoyed picnics in the great outdoors as much as possible, so that's why we try to get you outside as much as possible. Hence, on Monday, we have some wonderful outings for you as well. So thank you for this wonderful assembly.